Okay, welcome. We are doing a review of Vice. And no, not the 2015 Bruce Willis film, and no, not the Miami Vice. We are talking about Vice by Adam McKay.
It's weird, I didn't realise there were so many Vices. I looked up afterwards, IMDb, there's like so many, the Vice.
Yeah, well that's it, yeah, The Vice, there was The Vice, whatever that one was, and like, yeah, there were a ton of them on there.
So it's crazy. It's interesting. You went to see it a few weeks back, how many weeks back?
It's probably been a couple of weeks now.
A couple of weeks. So I went to see it, we didn't see it together, we saw it at different times. But so the cinema I was in was absolutely jammed. Like there was actually a waiting list. So obviously it's a very popular film. People want to see this, you know. So it's about Dick Cheney, and if anyone doesn't know Dick Cheney, he was the vice president. He was the vice president to George W. Bush, and he actually worked in the White House as well before that. Was it as Secretary of State?
Secretary of something.
Chief of
you
Staff.
just watched it.
Yeah, sorry. Chief of Staff and Secretary of State. I think he worked for Nixon, didn't he?
Yeah.
At that time as well. But it was. I really enjoyed it. But it's interesting because you're obviously American and you know more about American politics than I would. I really enjoyed it. Like I laughed out loud a few times, and it was interesting the way he edited it as well, and it wasn't very linear. You kind of flashed back even to Dick Cheney's early days when he was a drunk, and so you're thinking, looking at this guy on screen, you're thinking, how did he become vice president? And all of a sudden it just skips a lot and goes straight into him being an intern in the White House. At first I was a bit taken aback by that, how quickly it jumped, but then I really kind of got into the film and really began to enjoy it. Although there was a girl beside me who was on her phone all the time, so every so often she'd just take out his phone and the glare. So I think she didn't enjoy it. Probably a bit bored. But what do you think of Christian Bale? He playing.
So Christian Bale did
Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney, and he got fat for this film instead of skinny.
Really fat, wasn't he? 40 pounds or something.
Yeah, he put on a decent amount of weight, which Christian Bale does for movies. Like, my joke is that it was basically, imagine Batman got really old and gained a lot of weight and developed heart problems. That's Christian Bale's performance in this. So he has that kind of raspy voice. And
well, George, I'm the CEO.
He did come across very Batman-like in certain aspects of it, but he didn't look like Christian Bale. I know it was prosthetics, but still, I was really impressed with that. I think he could be up for an Oscar.
You think
we
so?
Find out on Monday.
I think you're right. And didn't he just win a Golden Globe? Or no, it wasn't Golden Globe. BAFTA? Or, I don't know.
I think he won something. We'll investigate that afterwards.
Something.
But and then Amy Adams, I was reading up some other reviews, and they said she could have done this in her sleep. Like, wasn't, you know, it was a terrific performance, and I really enjoyed it. Was she underused in it, I think?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it was his story. I think I felt she was used appropriately. I mean, the way she was portrayed kind of reminded me of like the evil devil, you know, on your shoulder. Like you got the good one and then the evil one, but Dick Cheney didn't have the good one. He only had the evil one, and it was her. Like that's kind of the way they portrayed it in this.
And the way they aged her as well was interesting. Like you see, like kind of her neck and stuff. They put prosthetics on that to make her look older, and her wig and but it was definitely like I came out of it at the end, and it kind of made me feel guilty because Adam McKay, he uses this he kind of breaks the fourth wall at one stage and turns to the audience, and you kind of feel, it made me feel guilty or something at the end, you know, and he came across as being very intimidating. But see, I wouldn't know much about Dick Cheney really, so maybe you probably did before you went in. Yeah, that was the difference.
Well, that's the thing, and like I'm proudly liberal, like you know, anyone who knows me, and I'm not a fan of Dick Cheney or George Bush, but I felt like this movie was preaching to me, and like I liked The Big Short. I thought that was really good, also by Adam McKay, and I felt that was educating us. Like this is what led to the stock market crash. And with this film, I felt he was just preaching to us, like, you idiots, why did you not see this? Why did, you know, and also I feel like he's stoking the arguments between the left and the right. You know, it's just any conservative who goes and sees this film, which won't be many, are going to watch it and they'll be like, oh, the mainstream media. They're going to the mainstream, the liberal media, they're biased and this is not true at all. And then, of course, any of the liberals that go see it are going to be like, oh, see, I knew it the whole time. He's a terrible person. He's the devil. Like, he shoots his friends in the face and gets away with it and that kind of stuff.
It was mad. I didn't realise that. I thought maybe that was embellished. Actually, he did shoot his friend in the face.
He did, yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, that's the thing. And I don't think there's really anything that's not true in it. I mean, all the facts were included in the film. But I don't know. I mean, they basically made George Bush to be like almost like an idiot. Yeah. He was just kind of like a buffoon.
He looked like
eating
a puppet.
ribs and
I didn't realise, and it's actually a narration throughout the film by Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, that I enjoyed. Yeah.
So anyone who doesn't know Jesse Plemons, he's an amazing actor. He's actually married to Kirsten Dunst. Do you know that? But he's in Fargo, the series, and he's terrific. So it's great to see him in this when he narrates the film. Yeah. And we can't say anything else.
No, you can't. I did like how they had him in the film and how they how they bring him and use him in the film. I did like that.
But I wouldn't have followed American politics that much. So I literally just went in and not knowing very little about Dick Cheney. And I just took it as a film. And I just came out feeling annoyed afterwards, because I didn't realise this went on. And you went in knowing this went on. So probably that's kind of interesting that you didn't like it as much as I did because of that reason.
That's why I think it is interesting, that you liked it more than I did.
And I must actually say, Steve Carell is in it as Donald Rumsfeld.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of Steve Carell.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed it. And it was, he kind of provides some there's a lot of comedy in it, some kind of comedy moments as well, some light relief as well.
Yeah, and that's nice. They try to kind of lighten the film up a little bit and, make it not so serious and stuff.
And then Sam Rockwell played Bush.
He's good.
So it's funny, another interesting fact, Adam McKay makes a cameo in this film.
Oh, I didn't know.
Do you know that? But you know what? He played, his heart was in it. There's some heart surgery. So this is, everyone know, well, I didn't realise.
He had heart surgery, yeah.
So basically Dick Cheney, he had a heart transplant, which is mad. He had terrible heart trouble. But Adam McKay had a heart attack during the making of this film and actually had heart surgery. So his heart is one of those,
that they use in the film.
They do. I don't know which one was. It wasn't a serious heart attack, he said, but that's his little cameo. And it is a very long film, actually, 2 hours, 12 minutes. So it is fairly long, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's for what it is. That's kind of a long film,
isn't it?
So I don't know. I guess. And the other thing I think the problem I had is this film is basically saying all Republicans are evil. They sit around with their little vampire fangs thinking, how can we make money off the stupid Americans? And Donald Rumsfeld is evil and Dick Cheney is evil and Liz Cheney's evil and Lynn Cheney is Lynn.
Lynn.
Liz is the daughter. Yeah, Lynn Cheney's evil. It was just like they're all evil.
It was fascinating. I didn't realize Dick Cheney's daughter, she's actually gay. And his other daughter, she voted against. She actually went was for Congress.
Yeah, for a state representative in Texas. Yeah,
and she said she was against gay marriage, which is it's crazy how it's crazy what went on in his life, and it kind of split the family apart, didn't it? It's like some of the stuff. It's so hard to believe that happened. But again, I went home and looked up YouTube and Google, and the stuff is true. But because he was very secretive, apparently, even though they at the start of the film. But even with his wife, when during 9/11, they wouldn't whisk her to the White House, and she says something to her bodyguard. All of a sudden, she's whisked to the White House, and it doesn't say what she said. So I'm wondering if that is
true or not. Or how. And same thing, there's that scene, and Dick Cheney's basically dealing with the 9/11 attacks, and George Bush is off
George Bush doesn't come across well in this film whatsoever. He comes across like a puppet. So it's, I obviously don't know George Bush personally, but coming across the media, was he that much of a puppet? I don't know.
He probably was to an extent, but come on, you don't become the. I don't know. You can't be the president of the United States and be a complete idiot. I mean, you could argue with our current president, he's a complete idiot, but he's a terrible human being, but I don't think he's a complete idiot. The same thing with Bush. He was, probably a bit naive and a little bit, did let himself be manipulated, but I don't think he was.
No, he wouldn't have got to that level, But he does come across like a complete buffoon in this film.
Totally.
It's crazy, and so it definitely left an impression with me. And I did come out feeling guilty, you know, but even the fact I read it with 9/11, how Dick Cheney, by bigging up this guy in the background, this ISIS, the guy's head of ISIS now, and he made him a celebrity basically. Yeah. So it's shocking to think something so small that.
And how easily that happens.
It's crazy, and how we're suffering with that today.
Yeah.
So it made a huge impression on me, this film. It made me think a lot, made me question a lot about politics and our public representatives. Who's pulling the strings? It's not the people in the papers, you know. It's not like fronting the papers, the people behind the scenes, you know. But I really enjoyed it. Like, I would give it 4 stars out of 5. 4.5 actually.
Really?
4.5. Yeah, just and you probably.
I went 2 stars out of 5.
2 stars.
2 stars. Yeah. It does have good qualities. It is nice that the film was made, but I think it's just even for me, who's I'm very left leaning. I felt it was just too much and just a little too preachy. And I don't really like Christian Bale. Like,
really, that's
like,
smart.
I'm not really sure why, but
I really like Christian Bale.
See, a lot of people do it, and he's a talented actor.
Really talented, yeah.
But there's just something when he does his like voice thing, it rubs me the wrong way, and
it's mad because you never imagine he'd play Dick Cheney on paper, but in real life it really works.
Yeah, and he pulled it off, and he does a well job. But like, I mean, he's a good actor. I guess I just something about him. I don't know.
So check it out. It's coming to cinemas nationwide on the 25th of January. And definitely there were a lot of discussions afterwards with friends and family, and it's definitely one to watch. It'll be interesting to see if it gets nominated for the Oscars on one day.
Yeah,
I'd say it'll be up for a few awards. So
definitely. Well, I think you're right. I think Christian will get nominated.
Definitely. Someone who packs on 40 pounds
always seems to
get nominated. Always get nominated.
Yeah.
And loses it again.
Exactly, yeah. So go check it out, I guess. She liked it, I didn't, but we're seeing, just at least from the point of like creating discussion, but discuss, don't argue. And with that, subscribe, share with your friends. Feel free to leave your own comments on what you thought of the film.